guys, how you doing? DJ AJ 101 here, and of course I'm here with the most anticipated review that you guys have been waiting for a while. I've gotten a ton of messages, a ton of comments, a ton of everything about it, and here it finally is. Here's my thoughts and my review on the iPhone 4S, the Apple's iPhone 4S that just came out about 2 months ago. Boom. I'm going to give you my thoughts, my opinions, what I like, what I don't like, and if I think you should really upgrade from your iPhone 3GS or iPhone 4, coming up right now. Let's get started. Okay, so first off, the iPhone 4S is basically a mere identical model to the iPhone 4, with just a slight little, bump in the antenna brakes. I know when the iPhone 4 was originally released, it was only at AT&T, had the antenna brake right up there in the middle at the top, and of course now the brakes are on both sides. Actually, 4 brakes, 2 on the top, 2 at the bottom. So the 2 brakes are pretty much the only thing that really looks different, and of course that's the look that the Verizon iPhone 4 had actually when it first came out, and still does. And what really is the only thing that's really noticeable between the iPhone 4 for Verizon and the iPhone 4S for basically every carrier now, because it's the exact same phone, is that it just has a little the FCC information at the bottom, the FCC symbols and logos, basically telling you that, hey, this is a world phone and you can use it in basically any country that you want. Not a world phone, but it's meant to be used around the world, having those trademarks at the bottom of the phone. But I really like this design for the iPhone 4S. I've liked it on the iPhone 4, and I know a lot of people were clamoring to have a different design, basically as they wanted something to tell a little bit, the difference between the iPhone 4 and the 4S, because now it's not that easy to tell, especially if you have a case on it. Even the antenna brakes and the FCC symbols at the bottom of it. But I really like this design. It has stainless steel, of course, running around, and glass front and the back. I personally really like it. I know a lot of people said, oh, it breaks, and I have a case on mine. As you guys can see right here, it has a case on the sides, so it protects the antennas and it protects the front and the back of the phone without dropping it flat on the concrete or flat on a hard surface and potentially cracking it. But I like this design a lot, if I could talk, and I hope you guys do too. Moving on to the next thing, but here's the big thing. A lot of people have been clamoring about this, that the antennas, because they've been redesigned a little bit, have actually been improved with the antenna switching technology that Apple has claimed to put in the iPhone 4S, which basically means the antennas will switch depending on which way you grip your phone, whether it's this way in your right hand or this way in your left hand. So basically it cuts down on that nasty little antenna grip issue, the death grip on, what do they call it, antenna gate. When Steve Jobs got up there and basically had to give a whole big spiel about how every phone has this problem. Well, now it actually has fixed the problem quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's fixed it entirely. As you guys may have seen in my antenna test video, bars still went down. I didn't lose signal, and it was still quite a bit better than my iPhone 4 was. So props to Apple for finally at least getting it to be a little bit better. Probably not fix the solution entirely, but it has improved the antenna reception, and it has kind of fixed that little nasty issue. So I'm sure that'll help out a lot of people that live in kind of fringe coverage areas, especially like myself. And of course, coming off that antenna design, this phone has to make phone calls, right? It's a phone. Well, in the time that I've had my phone, I have dropped 0 calls. I don't use my phone as much as a phone as I probably could or should, but I do use it quite a bit, and I have had 0 drop calls, even when driving the car, switching cell site to cell site. It's been great. I've been in low coverage areas and high coverage areas where I've had good signal and bad signal. Has yet to really drop a call, and so I'm sure that has something to do with the new redesigned antenna. So I'm really glad that Apple, of course, did that again, and I've had 0 drop calls with my Verizon iPhone. Of course, your carriers may vary depending on where you live and if you have great coverage in your area. So obviously antenna reception and call quality will also vary, but call quality has been fantastic, and 0 drop calls. I can't be any happier with that, right? 0 drop calls, happy customer. And of course, the 4S is now packed with the Apple A5 chip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Apple A5 chip. The Apple 4, of course, had the Apple A4 chip, so this is actually boosting. It's a dual-core 1 gigahertz chip, of course, speeding up processes on your phone itself, and of course, it brings much quicker performance. And I've seen it just in opening applications and loading, games and stuff like that. Just in everyday load times have really just picked up, especially when launching apps. It's much smoother. The animations are much smoother. Really has added some nice performance to the iPhone 4S. And of course, now coming from a 5 megapixel camera to an 8 megapixel camera, the camera system on the iPhone 4S has been greatly improved with that 8 megapixel backside illuminated sensor, giving much crisper pictures. And of course, I did a comparison of this. If you want to check out that video, I'm actually playing it right over here to the side, but you can go back to my previous videos and check it out. It was just a little while ago, but I did the comparison, and you can definitely see in some of the pictures that there's a little bit more sharpness, a little more color clarity between the 4 and the 4S. So the camera system has been greatly improved, and honestly, this I think can now officially say, if you really don't need optical zoom in your point and shoot, this replaces your point and shoot flat out. Just tremendous quality, and the tap to focus and pinch to zoom, just great quality features to have in a phone, and especially the iPhone. You know, to have it be a great camera, you know, as well as a colossal of other things, you know, including a phone, is really just outstanding. And the camera has been outstanding, and it, you know, takes great stills as well as 1080p HD video. And of course, I did another comparison to that as well, where you're actually getting 1080p HD video, 1920 by 1080p HD video. And the quality is really outstanding as well. I don't know if this can actually be used as a replacement for, you know, maybe your Canon HD camcorder like I have here, but it can definitely be used on the scene. You know, if you need a point and shoot HD camera to actually take video, well, probably one of the best that you can have, especially in your pocket. Can't really complain about that. It's an awesome feature, and it's awesome that Apple improved the quality quite a bit on the camera, especially in the 4S. Battery life, in my experiences, really has been about the same as the iPhone 4, and of course that nasty little battery bug that Apple has really yet to address. You know, not really sure if it's hardware related or just a software glitch that maybe Apple can or can't fix to the point where maybe you get as good as battery life as the iPhone 4. But battery life has been about the same for me, you know, on a regular basis. Battery does go down a little bit, like I said. I think there is a battery bug affecting some users. I think that's affecting me just a little bit. But the battery is about the same. Can't expect a huge performance. Like I said, it's the exact same design, so I don't think that the battery technology has improved that much within a year and a half's time frame to really make it that much better. But I'm sure in the iPhone 5 we'll probably see substantial battery life, as well as probably, you know, 4G technology as well. Now, gaming on the iPhone 4S, because I know I had some people tweet me and some people ask me comments, you know, how's the gaming on this thing? And I gotta admit, I'm not a very high profile gamer. You know, I'm not playing the really graphic intensive games. You know, I said the biggest thing I probably play as far as graphic intensive games is probably, you know, Paper Toss, or, you know, Can Knockdown, or maybe Plants vs. Zombies, Angry Birds, stuff like that. But honestly, even playing those, you know, kind of low key quality games, and, you know, it's been blazingly smooth. I mean, it really has loaded up it loads up quite a bit quicker than the iPhone 4, just flat out. But it also has greatly improved the performance of those games as well. The games are definitely, you can definitely tell that they're much smoother than the 4, probably because of the A4 to A5 processor chip bump. So a little bit faster CPU, obviously, a little better performance in the phone, so it definitely improves load times, and it definitely improves performance just a little bit. I'm sorry I can't give that much more in-depth detail about how it is on, you know, higher intense, graphically intense games. You know, I'm just not that type of gamer, especially on my phone. So I apologize for that, but for your basic games, it definitely helps. It definitely improves it, and like I said, it has greatly enhanced the performance and the smoothness of the graphics. And of course, last but not least is Siri. Apple's claiming, and on their commercials and at the keynote, your personal virtual little assistant that's actually in your phone, you know, kind of like what Google had, but I think, you know, a couple of steps better. Definitely taking the integration to personal assistant and voice recognition quite a bit further, in my opinion. Definitely putting some competition on the competition, which is probably Google and Microsoft, to come up with some better voice integration in their phones and their software as well. But of course, Siri, like I said, is basically your personal little assistant. As you can see, I've done a video on that as well, as I'm showing you to the side, you know, where I kind of asked it some questions and see what it would give. And, you know, Siri kind of does have a little bit of a personality, which is nice. It's not just generic. It's not just sending you to a website every time. You know, it really depends on what certain things you ask it. But, you know, if you ask it, how's the weather, or something like that, you know, it'll give you the forecast. It'll tell you if you need a rain jacket and stuff like that. I'm sure you've seen it in Apple's commercials, which is kind of neat. And you can also do, you know, speech to text, you know, which is basically, you know, you hit the little microphone button on your keyboard, and you basically say, hey, you know, type a text message to blah blah blah, and have it say, I'll meet you at the diner at 5 o'clock, or send an email to your boss saying, you know, here's, you know, so and so's resume, do you think we should hire him, or something like that. So it's definitely a nice integration. I find myself using that quite a bit, probably even more than what I use Siri. So the voice recognition, at least for text to speech, you know, sending text messages, not having to physically type it in anymore, is quite is quite nice in my opinion. I mean, there's just times where, you're by yourself and you just want to reply quickly and you don't want to, maybe want to say something else. Maybe you don't know how to spell a word or something. You just, say it in your phone, and you don't have to have, the visual voice or the correction come up. Basically do the right thing. From the majority of time that I've used it, at least. There is some work still to do with Siri, as nice as it is for having some fun with your friends and, of course, giving you information like the weather and sending emails and text messages. I think Apple, of course, is working on the development of Siri with the developers so that they can take advantage of Siri in their applications as well. Of course, not only with the keyboard, but within the integration of Siri to actually, reference some protocols to other apps so that you can actually say, what's the closest blah 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 on Yelp, and it'll take it to the Yelp app instead of just a website or do a web search. So I think there's a lot more that Apple can do with Siri, but I think it's a great first start for Apple. They've really got a nice integration into the iPhone 4S, which I think does compel some people to buy it. And I would say, if you really do plan on using the voice virtual assistant, in Siri quite a bit, might be a reason to upgrade. But now, what are my final thoughts on it? Should you upgrade to this phone? And this is the bottom line. This is what everyone's been watching the video for. Now, in my opinion, if you're coming from a 4, I really don't think there's enough of a incentive to upgrade, especially when you got to start out that $600 price point if you need to break your contract, if you can't get it at the upgrade pricing, which is $200 for the base iPhone 4S. So if you really need the virtual assistant and you really like to have a better camera, it might be essential for you to upgrade. Only you can make that decision. Personally, for me, just in testing it, I don't know if I would tell everybody to just go out and jump on the bandwagon for a 4S, especially if you have a 4 and a very capable 4, iPhone 4 as well. Without the virtual assistant and without the, without the integrated Siri, anyways, the virtual assistant and the 8 megapixel camera, which are probably two of the biggest, and of course a little bit of a speed bump. Not very many people are going to notice it unless you are a really hardcore gamer on your phone. Then the 4S might be definitely justifiable. But if you are coming from a 3GS, or maybe an older iPhone such as a 3G or maybe even original yet, I don't know how people are people still using original iPhones? Probably not so much for apps anymore, but maybe for phone calls, text messages. But if you're coming from any of those, anything previous to iPhone 4, definitely worth the upgrade. Apple's probably gonna release another iPhone next fall. They re-jumped their cycle, now they'll make it to fall. So right now is probably the best time. Holiday season is coming up. If you have a Christmas wish list, you might want to put it on there. Even if you're eligible for an upgrade, it's a great upgrade. Especially if you're coming from, like I said, a 3G or a 3GS. Awesome phone. You'll definitely enjoy the enhancements, and you'll definitely enjoy playing with Siri, quite a bit, because obviously you're coming from a phone that's already 2 generations old. Even though Apple's still selling it for free, you can get all these great features, in a $200 phone package on a new contract. So definitely worth the upgrade, in my opinion there. But anyways, guys, these have been my thoughts. I'm sorry I rambled quite a bit, just trying to get this video done, because I know I've had a lot of people, sorry I got an itch, a lot of people ask me about this. But what do you guys think of the iPhone 4? I want to throw it back to you guys. Have you guys any of you have it? Do you really recommend it for just the Siri and the 8 megapixel camera integration above anything else, even if you have a 4? Love to hear from you guys. Feel free to post comments below, and I would be happy to respond to you if you have a question or not. Ask me. I love it. I love answering your guys' questions. I like to be helpful, especially giving from my opinion anyway. Also, if you'd like to rate up, be awesome for me. It helps me out. Also, subscribe also helps me out if you want to keep up to date on the latest videos that I have and like to post, and just useful information like the reviews, and of course everyday tech stories that just kind of catch my eye and maybe catch your eye as well. So I like to post them for you guys, and if you like to check them out. Also, which I haven't been mentioning, and I think I mentioned in my previous video, I finally have a Facebook fan page and a Twitter. So those links will be in the description below, and it's at DJAJ101, and of course a DJAJ101 Facebook page, and I hope to be releasing more stuff, hopefully with Google Plus and hopefully a website later on in the future. But right now we're just going to start off with those two things. Hopefully gaining some ground and momentum here on YouTube has helped out, and I thank all you guys for your support of my videos, and you guys have been great as well. So anyways, this is going to do it for me. I'm going to wrap this guy up. Like I said, leave some comments below, rate, comment, subscribe if you would like, and I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great night, everybody. Goodbye.